way back, you slightly mentioned that you had an encounter with the police authorities.
Mhm. So that is when I think running kind of started, and since then I have been very disciplined on how the body is reacting, what are the
So whenever you hit your early 30s or like late 20s, so you just hit the road and you start to run. So
simulation as differently. For some, simulation is more of learning. For some, simulation is it's a lot of change. And in fact, the house I'm staying in, I was born in the same house.
oh,
And my schooling has been from Delhi.
so at what time do you usually wake up?
Okay, so I typically get up around 4:30.
Not more than that.
Endurance sport give you the mental strength, give you some bit of, if not entirely, some bit of physical benefit, and it is adding to that is where I think good leadership comes in. You have to unlock the team's potential. You have to ensure that the team is aligned on what is required for the organization and what goals they are working through. Give them the right. The next best mutual fund I will choose. A lot of stocks that will go through.
3, 2, 1, and we are live. Thanks a lot, Abhishek, for doing this. What's your take on it? Are there any prescriptions, or like you just have to do your own thing?
I think the whole bit is the action reaction. You cannot always control the action, but you can control the reaction. That is where there is no prescription, but I think the way you react, the way you act on it, the way you handle situations, more or less the framework is there, but I think it will look very different from one person to another, from one journey to another. So I agree to that, but at the same time, I think again, the tool set, the things that you apply are pretty much the same. It is just, I think, how you react to the whole situation.
Okay. How did you become what you are today? So yeah, thanks a lot for doing this.
Thanks, Kushal. Thanks for having me. And I can share my journey, my experience, but don't expect a lot of wisdom from me.
I think जब भी शुरू होता है तो सब ऐसा बोलते हैं, but whenever the podcast. Okay, so coming straight to the point, like congratulations first on becoming the CTO, and how's the life have been?
Life has been good. I think, again, to the point, everyone sees simulation as differently. For some, simulation is more of learning. For some, simulation is it's a lot of change. And few people are change averse. I am not. So most of the time, I have been kind of in my journey start to look at things I can do differently, or I can pick different things. So this is one of those. I have a good stint, a good kind of journey with Expedia, and before that with Amazon. But the idea was, okay, can I look at breadth or can I look at maybe few verticals? So I have handled multiple verticals earlier. The idea was to look at breadth, and this role kind of unlocked that opportunity for me. So kind of simulation where it is end-to-end technology, and then I want to at least experience it. More to do with my learning in my journey. Yeah.
If we go to the very start, आपके दिमाग में ऐसा सवाल आया था कि कभी बचपन के अंदर कि one day I'll be at a very high leadership position in a very big company.
Never. Never. I think obviously childhood is mostly revolving around what you can play, how you can have fun, how you can go out, what is the next thing that gives you some comfort or something that you enjoy, rather than saying what you want to be next 10 years, next 20 years. And again, I think going back to the philosophy, I'm not even thinking what I want to be getting to in the next 10 years, right? It is one step at a time. Yes, you have to start thinking, planning towards thing, but life has its own plan. A lot of things doesn't go by the plan. So this was never something I wanted. I always had a maybe some interest on technology, how things are working, how things are evolving. That was the only thing I knew, but nothing that, okay, I want to kind of get into software, then I have to get into the leadership roles and then get to maybe more senior leadership positions. So this was never planned.
So how was your childhood like? Were you the studious one or were you the more playful one, the backbencher side?
I was somewhere in the middle. I was not the one who is like in the top three or top five in the class, but I will not be the one who is in the middle. I'm towards maybe good 80th, 85th percentile. And the idea is, okay, I can study this much. So I think the idea was be in the decent kind of grading system, and the amount I invest into study, what is the ROI of it? So I never was that, okay, I have to invest 100% into studies. See how I can just invest say 50, 60, 70% and still get to good grades.
Hmm.
and save some time for the fun bit of it and not be the one who is very much concerned if I get maybe one mark less or something which is a careless mistake. So I was of that kind. It was never that I have to be in the top three or top five.
Where did you grow up? In which city, and how was the childhood like?
So my whole upbringing has been in Delhi. I was born in Delhi. In fact, the house I'm staying in, I was born in the same house, and
Oh.
my schooling has been from Delhi. On the contrary, I think what you have observed working with me and some of the time we have spent at Expedia, I was one of the naughtier one in the class in terms of what you can do, how you can create some fun in the class, whether it is with teachers, whether it is with
Hmm.
your friends. So my schooling has been really fun, and post schooling, I have done my masters, my bachelor's, which was MDU, Haryana, and then
Rohtak.
I did my masters in Bangalore. So if you ask me, I think Bangalore is where I got good exposure to technology, something to do with at a deeper level when it comes to
Mhm.
algorithms, problem solving, coding. Prior to that, it was a bit of a fun and maybe some learning.
There was this one question I always wanted to ask you. Way back, you slightly mentioned that you had an encounter with the police authorities.
Mhm.
But you didn't tell me the story, you didn't tell us the story. So, what was the story behind it? Like, what actually happened?
So I think this was when I was in Faridabad, and this was to do with, I think, a group of friends coming together. They wanted to have fun. So one night, I think everyone was doing a night out, and somehow a couple of friends went out on a bike. Obviously, they were trying to have fun, so they were looking out for some drinks. Uh, the moment they went out, I think police chased them or whatever happened. We know just half part of the story. They somehow escaped from there, and then
Mm.
they ended up kind of getting into the house. Now they were never aware that police is still chasing them, and police ended up in the house. So just because of those two, the entire bunch was encountered, and everyone was questioned, "What are we doing? What is
Mm.
our background? How are we kind of spending that night?" So that was a tricky one, but end of it, I think because we were not the ones who were going out and on that bike. So nothing happened, but it was a scare during that night, that whole night out. At the end of it was fun, but when you were in the moment, it was not that fun.
Of course. So, how old were you back then?
This must be 19 or 20.
Oh, when you were in college only.
Yes, this was in college. Yeah.
Oh, तब
Yeah.
तो बहुत डर लगता होगा तब तो
Ah,
सबको ही लगता है तब
so
तो
that was the first time, and it was a brutal encounter. I think I'm sure you are aware of. Think the degree of the whole police force in every state is different. Police in Haryana is different. So I think that was a
exactly.
scary, yes.
बट ऐसे केस में हमेशा कोई होता है ना कि जैसे लेट्स से आप एमडीयू में थे तो एमडीयू के अंदर कोई ना कोई होगा जिसको हरियाणवी तो आती होगी और वो थोड़ा पुलिस से नेगोशिएशंस कर सके ऐसा नहीं हुआ क्या?
Coincidentally, yes, you are right. The folks who
वही.
went out on bike were the same guys who knew Haryanvi, who were local, and they
Mhm.
got into the trouble. So that is where we were a bit scared. Now, who is going to save us and how we are going to come out of it?
आई थिंक हरियाणा में व्हाट आई हैव सीन इज कि अगर आप लोकल हो और आपका पुलिस से मतलब इफ यू कैन इवन कन्वर्स इन हरियाणी ऑन अ वेरी स्ट्रॉन्गर लेवल तो पुलिस विल लेट यू गो इफ यू आर इन हरियाणा. सेम
Yeah.
गोज इन कनाडा व्हेन यू आर इन बैंगलोर. तो दिस आई हैव सीन. लोकल के लिए
So,
थोड़ा तो होता है
see,
उनका.
that night it was all Murphy's Law at the best. So, this guy has roots from Haryana. He knew
हाँ.
someone in the police. He tried to use that card. It backfired. It
ओ.
backfired very badly, and that's the point when we knew, okay, nothing is working out here. So these guys has to kind of get into some trouble, or we have to figure out how we can get out of this thing.
दैट मस्ट बी स्कैरी.
Yes, that was
तो
scary.
उसके बाद आप पुलिस से थोड़ा दूर ही रहते होगे मेरे हिसाब
Exactly.
से.
Police se dur, and then you were also like, okay, let's be very selective. If we are doing some fun, we are doing a night out. Who are the people who are coming in? Because this was like, okay, there is a night out happening. One person told to another, the other person told to another one, and we never knew who is coming in. There was a big bunch that turned out. So
Great.
that is where the trouble happened.
Also in college you have a very big bunch of friends, like friends what we call them at the moment, but bunch of acquaintances from like college. But तो ये चेन रिएक्शन हो जाता है कि हाँ, हाँ, सारे आ रहे हैं, इधर
Exactly.
सब हो रहा
And then it was always like, okay, it's a Friday, so everyone wants to have fun. Like,
है।
if there is something that is happening, everyone wants to be part of it. So that is how it spread out, right?
हाँ, I get it. Uh, okay, coming back to like, what does your present schedule looks like? Like, uh, I've seen you like every day you run for around 10 kilometers, and on weekends you go for 22 kilometers. Like, how do you manage? Like, I've been thinking about this from a long, long time. Like, how do you manage your time?
So I think managing time is again a choice, right? If someone likes something, you will make time for it. You will cut short on something. Obviously, I think I have a tight schedule. But the bit that I cut short on or where I catch up or I optimize is my commute.
Mm,
The other bit is I think if I have to pick in the priority of things, sleep might be the seventh or eighth priority. So at times I am a bit sleep deprived.
oh,
So that is where I use weekends to catch up on sleep. But yeah, I'm an early bird, so I start early. My point is if I have to do something, better be done before I go to office, and that's the
mm,
reason you see me kind of doing an early run and then getting into the car and then doing compute. During my commute, I'm catching up on my emails, some of the
mm,
stuff. If I can talk to people, I do that. And then I'm in office, I spend that time, I come back, spend some time with family, and then if there is more work to catch up on, that is what I do. But idea is, I think, again, priorities, what you like, you will make time for it. It's a 24-hour day. You will not get the 25th hour.
yeah,
Within 24 hours, what is your priority, where you feel like? I think getting up early an hour or 2 hours is not
mm,
difficult for me, which I feel at times, I think it's a blessing too. Uh,
mm,
I have seen people who struggle really bad if they have to get up in the morning. And that's where I think everyone has a personality. Someone is an early bird, someone is not an early bird, right? So that's how I want to structure the day, do things which I like, because in the evening, and given how brutal Delhi weather is,
mm,
both in winters and summers, you cannot do a lot in the evenings. And then it also
yeah,
depends on how bad the traffic and commute is.
mm.
So better to do it in the morning. You're done with one thing, you're done with. The day is good. At least you're energized, something you have achieved. And that is how I plan the day.
So, at what time do you usually wake up?
Okay. So I typically get up around 4, 4:30.
ब्रह्म मुहूर्त में एकदम.
Yes, that's
Mm,
correct. And I think winters में थोड़ा सा होता है 5, 5:30 तक I can stay back. But when it is summers, high time, I think you get light early. Things are pretty accessible if you go out even 5, 5:30. Not like winters where you have to wait for dark to get away. So that's the time I get up. Yeah.
मेरे को तो सोच के थोड़ा स्ट्रेस हो रहा है कि 4:30 बजे उठना. So there was a time in my life when I used to wake up at 4:30. So when I was in my JE coaching, at that time there were two things. So weekends I had to commute to Delhi for my FitG coaching for my weekend classes. My classes started at 8, ended at 6, so I had to be there before 8. And I was living in Hisar. I remember I had a bus. Initially, there was Haryana Roadways only. So
Yes.
for that, I used to take the Ballavgarh bus, which
Okay.
started at 4:15 from Hisar bus stand, and which drops me at Piragadi at 4:25. So I have like 30 minutes to go to Punjabi Bagh and attend the classes. तब मैं उठता था, and because of that I used to wake up at like 5ish every day, क्योंकि मेरे को 3 दिन फिट जाना होता था. But उसके बाद when I went to college I lost everything, and now I am not really an early bird.
But I
So
think the kind of day you can plan and the kind of time you have at hand when you wake up early, that's a different level. And the
yeah,
moment I think, at least I'm not aware or I cannot recollect when is the last time I got up around 7 a.m. It has always been before 6, before 5. That's the day, that's the way I like it. I think that's where maybe the initial
mm,
8, 10 hours, the first half of the day is pretty active for me. I'm most kind of alert, aware, doing things, and then
mm.
it tapers off during the second half.
This I've realized, like whenever I have to wake up early, so I have a lot of time in the day.
Yes.
So 5 से 9 के बीच में ही इतना सारा टाइम लगता है कि ओ अभी सिर्फ 9 बज गई है. अभी तो
Right.
मेरा पूरा दिन है. अभी मेरा पूरा दिन शुरू हुआ है. दिस दिस आई एग्री, बट अब आपकी फैमिली भी अकस्टम हो गई होगी कि हाँ, यू विल वेक अप दिस अर्ली एंड
Ah, they are pretty much aware, and I think because of my love for running, I have to get up every Sunday morning. So Saturday evening is not a party night for me. It's not a night where I'm spending a lot of time with even relatives or late night kind of dinners. So I'm in bed around 9:30, 10 because I have to get up early around 4, 4:30 and get out for a long run because now the more we get into May, June, the summers will be brutal. So if you can
yes,
get some time before I think sun shows up in the morning, that's the time you can have a comfortable run. So Sunday
great.
morning is a ritual that I am not there with family. I'm doing my run and then I come after maybe 10 after 9 and then I think I'm catching up with family. But then it is the rest of the day, it is a recovery time.
How did you get into running? For me, I have tried like hundreds of times. So max I have ran for like 5 3 days, 5 4 days regularly. So the max kilometers I have ran is 10 kilometers, which was brutal for me. Uh, but how did you get into running from the very beginning? कैसे हुआ सब शुरू?
So I think I had few encounters where I wanted to try out running. And I will tell you, I think this was back in 2012 or 2013. I don't remember the exact year, might be 2012. So there used to be, now we call it like Vedanta half marathon. There used to
Yes.
be Airtel Delhi half marathon, ADHM. They used to have a Delhi fun run. It is still there. Every year
Mm,
it happens. It was around 4.6 kilometers. I never ran in my life till that point. I thought, okay, I will try it out. So I tried that 4.6 kilometers. It was bad experience. I was like, okay, it's not happening again. So then nothing happened, nothing happened. Then I moved to Bangalore and I was working at with Amazon at that point of time. So there was a fun run that happened somewhere in Domlur or maybe Old
mhm.
Airport Road. That was again 5K. I did that, a lot of pain, a lot of. I also got an injury after 5K, which was
Oh,
very unique. And then I told to myself, nothing, it's not happening again. I tried 2 times. It is not something that I like. Then what happened? I think I relocated from Bangalore to Delhi back in 2015. That is when, till that time, I was pretty active in Bangalore. I had a big group where we were playing badminton every Saturday,
mm,
Sunday. So that was something I was looking up to because
mm,
I like to kind of play badminton, have something which is on the fitness side and sports side. The moment I came in Delhi, Delhi is unique because unlike Bangalore, I think people go far out. We have distances like 40 kilometers, 50 kilometers. They are commuting, traveling. So just getting four people together on a badminton court was a big
it's
thing.
tough. It's
It
tough.
that was one complexity. The second
Mm,
complexity was to figure out when the court is available. Now you might
mm,
still have four people with you. You don't have the court. You have
yes.
the court, but the four people are nowhere around.
Available.
The
Yes.
idea was okay, let's try out something which has less dependency and I can do it on my own. So it came to running. That year, I thought, okay, let me just bump up. I have done like a 4.6 Delhi fun run few years back, a 5 kilometer run. Let me try out a half marathon.
Okay.
And May of 2015 is when I landed in Delhi. I relocated
Mm,
completely. November of 2015 is when I registered for my first half marathon. No idea how I will do it. The maximum distance I have ran is 5 kilometers, and that too in the last 4 or 5 years. So I joined a group. At that point of time, there used to be a lot of groups, and there was a group in Nehru Park called as Nike Run Club, organized by
yeah.
Nike. They have their
Nike.
some coaches coming, and then they're doing their drills and everything. So I showed up on a Sunday morning. It used to be happen on Saturday and Sunday. So on one Sunday morning, I showed up and then they were doing some drills, warm up, and in Nehru Park, Delhi, in Chanakyapuri. So the first thing we did is we did some drills. Then they said, okay,
Mm,
let's kind of do the whole loop of Nehru Park, the
mm,
inside park, and it was around 2.7, 2.8. I never knew it was 2.7. And this
okay.
was something everyone was doing. I thought, okay, let me also try. I did that. It was going to take a toll on me, obviously.
Yeah.
And after that, they said, okay, now we will run.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, I'm done for the day.
ये
I
क्या
am
था?
done for
फिर
the
अभी
day.
क्या किया
I will
आपने?
see you the next week. In the meantime, I will try what I can do. So that
Mm,
is when I think running kind of started. And since then, I have been very disciplined on how the body is reacting, what are the injuries I am getting into, what are the distances I am kind of signing up for, what is the timing for a lot of things. So 2015 half marathon I did. Again, it was very painful because this was the first 21 I am doing. Anytime you get into the first longer races, first time, the body kind of reacts, right? And that is where it is also part of building up your body and getting
Mm,
trained. Then I thought, okay, maybe let me not try it. But then I think the group gave me some support, some kind of motivation to hang in there. And it was like, okay, let's put some structure to the training and see what I can do. And starting 2016, I seriously got into a proper structure training and doing certain runs and putting some targets out. Since then, I have been running. And as I said, I think it started as a more physical sports thing. But after that, I started enjoying the whole experience of running. I think
mm,
if you do it right, and this is where it takes multiple years to get to that level,
yeah,
if you are able to do a low heart rate run for good 30-40 minutes, you
mm,
get a lot of endorphins. That is where all the negativity in your head
uh,
is out. So after some time, I was using running more for a balancing act, more of a venting out act, rather than saying it is
mhm,
something physical for me. And that is how I got into that. Okay, I have to run every day. I am not putting a distance to it. I am not putting a time to it. I have to get out because this is more of a balancing act with what's happening on the job, what's happening on the personal side. I need some time for myself to vent out certain things and clear my head. So that is how I think running supported me. A lot of the things I have achieved in life, I think over the last 10 years, contributed to running because I can maintain that sane state, I can
uh.
maintain that balance, equanimity. That is how it started. Yeah.
So, listening to this, like, it doesn't feel like you are really a headphone or an earphone person. You just go straight away running and uh,
I do that.
kind
I
of a
think
meditation thing.
it is meditation, but it's not that I am averse to music or anything. I like music. I think if I am doing a run which is a shorter run, I don't mind some music. But I think if it is a longer run, it is within a group, we are having some chit chat, it is better to connect. Many of the races I do, I try not to use any music because I think that is the time you connect with fellow runners. And if you're doing a full marathon, you get a lot of time at hand.
Of
Three
course.
and a half hours, 4 hours, 4.5 hours. You meet a lot of people, and it's a good idea to chit chat during the run. That is where you make a lot of connections. So, to your point, I'm not averse to it, but again, in some situations, I use it. Most of the time, I'm not. Yeah.
So the thing that you mentioned about venting out, right, while running. So again, I read this book, Shoe Dog, by Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. He said the exact same thing. So what he said was, so he started a company called Blue Ribbon before Nike. He was bringing Onitsuka Tiger shoes from Japan
Okay. Okay.
and selling it in USA.
Okay.
So he became kind of a big thing, a big seller. And whenever he felt stress during the working hours and all, he said, I put on my shoes and I went to run. Every time in this book, more than 100 times he would have said that I
Yeah.
just put on my shoes and I went to run. I think that was also a start for me. I started running because I read the book and I was like, okay, ab mere ko bhagna hai. Then again, I read another book, Born to Run. I think we have discussed about this
On
in
to run.
office.
Yes. Yes.
Born
Yes.
to
Yes.
Run. So that was also a great book on running and on how shoes are like kind of destroying the running industry and all.
Right.
This meditation part, I have heard this from like a lot of people. If I tell you in my case, back in college, I used to play basketball. So I was in the basketball team and used to play basketball. Then after college, when I shifted to Gurgaon, again, not of lot of people who play basketball. Started playing badminton. I met a lot of new people through badminton. For me, badminton was kind of an escape from the outer world and to went out. मेरे पापा भी बोलते हैं कि जब भी ऐसा स्ट्रेस फील हो रहा हो ना तो यू नो कि बस पसीना बहाना है, पसीना बहाओ भर के और उसके बाद तुम अच्छा ही फील करोगे।
So yeah, I think anything which has to do with your breathing,
हुँ,
anything where you're putting your body in bit of a stress, that negativity comes out, right?
यस,
So that is the whole point of meditation. Even if you look at maybe some breathing exercises, it's the same bit, right?
या
So running provides that, but I think just to get there, one has to be very disciplined because the moment we start running, we start looking at numbers, we start looking at what
हुँ,
the other bigger group is doing. Let me try to run faster. No two people will have the same level of fitness, breadth, uh, aerobic capacity. So that's where I think some everyone has to be patient, and running is a very patient sport. You have to be patient. Multiple years you gain maybe certain fitness. Multiple years you gain certain level of aerobic capacity. So running provides it, but it requires patience.
Did you take any professional help when you started running like major marathons and all? Did you take
I
any help for?
took, I think, some inputs from some of the fellow runners. Then there was a coach who was coaching virtually, and he was
Mm,
based in London. So I
mm,
took some kind of training plans from him. Then rest of it has been a lot of test and learn, and it has
okay.
not been always the test is successful. But I have tried a lot of things over the last 10 years, which maybe have also benefited me. Some
Mm,
failed. I have failed miserably in those. But yeah, it's a mixed bag. Couple of coaches I have taken online kind of training. Even recently, I'm consulting someone in Bangalore. His
mm,
name is Coach Shreyas, and he has been helping on the fitness, on the cross training, on running plan. So that has been helping. It puts some structure to it. You can
mm,
always follow some structure, but again, that simulation is important. What is something that you're changing
yeah.
that brings the improvement in the body, in the aerobic fitness?
Mm. Did you change the diet plan also? Like whatever you are eating, are you a bit more conscious when you start running and all?
I have not changed that much, but I am a bit more conscious on, I think, my overall weight,
Mm,
where that weight is headed. I am a bit conscious of the food that I am going to take, and
mm,
it has to be clean calories.
mm,
Maybe one or two cheat meals in a week doesn't matter, but if it is good home cooked food,
uh,
even if it is something that you like, I think it is better than having it outside and then figuring out what the calorie count is. So
mm.
I'm not very conscious on calories. I'm more conscious on I'm taking maybe clean calories. I'm taking clean kind of protein. And then one or two times in a week, I don't mind, because if I'm putting so much of hard work, this is something I can still go out and
होना तो चाहिए. Agreed.
right. Right.
कुछ तो बाहर का खा लेना चाहिए सा
Yeah.
मन को अच्छा
I,
लगेगा.
I don't hesitate. I'm not the one I will just count the calories and say, okay, I'm not having this. But yes, I am conscious of maybe two things. Ki weight is going in the right direction. I'm not gaining like 4 or 5 kgs, because end of the day, if I'm doing a run, weight matters.
Yeah.
Uh,
Agreed. Like knee pressure होगा, shin पे pressure पड़ेगा. Plus you are running on a hard surface, so you have to work on that.
right.
So the thing you mentioned about the numbers, right? My elder brother is 2 years elder than me. So he's into cycling. He's a very good cyclist. He's a long distance cyclist. He's a SR. So know what SR is?
No.
You know about BRMs, the BRM
Yes.
races.
Yes. That
Yeah.
I'm aware of.
He has done 200, 400, and 600 in one
Okay.
year. When you
Mhm.
do it, so you become an SR, senior rounder. So he's an SR. If you look in
I
the
see.
back,
I
so
see that.
there's a,
Yes.
yeah. So there is a Merida road bike,
Yes.
full carbon and all. It's his
Right.
bike, not mine. When I go out to play and he go out to for cycling and also we come back home and we try to uh, check our resting heart rate, like who has
Yes.
a lower resting heart rate. Before that, what's your resting heart rate?
Okay. So my resting heart rate has come down over the years. I think right now it is hovering somewhere around 45, 47.
Hmm. His best was like 51, and somehow my best is 44.
Okay.
And uh, currently my average is going out to be like 48, 49. तो वो बड़ा परेशान हो जाता था मेरे से कि तू तो कुछ कर भी नहीं रहा है
If you're
तेरी.
gaining a lot of good resting heart rate despite not doing anything, right?
I just go out for badminton and sometime football. तो यही मेरा मेजर, मतलब मेरे को भागना बड़ा ना ऐसे अकेला सा लगता है कि मेरे को
हम्म.
अकेले नहीं भागना.
हाँ.
क्योंकि और यहाँ पर जितने भी लोग हैं वो नहीं भागना चाहते सुबह उठकर. तो
Right.
फिर मेरे को अकेले भागने में बहुत ऐसा प्रेशर आता है कि मेरे को अकेले भागना पड़ेगा
हाँ.
ये सब. तो ये भी एक
Hey,
चीज थी.
running is a solo sport. That is the beauty of it, right? कि अकेले you can do everything. But हाँ, if you like company, maybe finding that group helps. But somehow it never clicked for me running in large groups. Smaller groups, it is okay. You can still fine tune your pace and everything. But larger groups, everyone is trying to match the pace and they are doing the same workout. Never clicked for me. It is on the other side, I feel maybe running solo is better. That gives me the independence, right? I can dial up, dial down my pace. I can dial up based on the heat, weather.
I think that's a very mature thing to do. But
Okay.
from my thing, like I'm a very competitive person. So if I'm
Okay.
running with someone, so I would try to like
So you
either
need
match
that
the
challenge. You
pace.
need something to kind of. Okay.
Yes, see, like okay, मेरे को इनसे आगे भागना है या मेरे को इनके बराबर चलना है.
Yeah, but
So
then see, the point is you can always have that challenge for yourself. You don't have to compete with anyone. Now, for example, you have said that you are doing 10K. I don't know what the time is, but if you have done a 10K say in 70 minutes,
yeah,
you can
it was
always say
exactly
that,
70
yeah.
minutes.
So you can always say is that okay, I want to do 65 minutes in next 6 months.
Yeah, so the next time I did was it was 105 only.
Okay.
But again, as the Garmin says, beat yesterday. So I
Yeah.
also tried that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna beat yesterday my last day goal, but मुझसे अकेले भागा नहीं जा रहा. तो मैं बहुत कोशिश करी मैंने, बट हुआ नहीं मुझसे. बट ठीक है, मतलब I feel like someday when I be more mature about it, कि
Hmm.
it's a competition with myself, not with someone else. I'll probably I'll get better and
Maybe
I'll
everyone
start.
has that, I think, thing coming up, right? I started running at what age? 33 or maybe 32.
Oh,
Right. I never ran before. Whatever I ran, I did not like the experience. It was not
mm,
a pleasant run for me. So everyone kind of gets to that stage in maturity, right? Now I feel I would have started earlier, maybe 10 years earlier, but it is what it is. I'm happy where I am.
so the last pod I shot with Nishant. He's so he's the person who kind of taught my brother how to cycle and all. So it started with I went to his shop to get a cycle. I got a basic cycle, and he was like, "Okay, ऐसे इसको चलाओ." फिर I got shifted to like Gurgaon and all. So my brother started cycling and all. So he got much deeper into cycling, and so then he bought his first road bike, then his second road bike and all. So Nishant started cycling at age of 35. uh, so he completed BRM every day. Like so, every year he completes. He's an SR every year, and he went for PBP in Paris. So that's Paris, Brest, Paris. So he completed it in year 2019, while he started cycling in 2015. So वो भी उनको भी वही पैशन 35 में समझ आया कि हाँ मेरे को साइकिलिंग पसंद है.
Yeah. So it is
बट हाँ.
important, I think, something clicks with you rather than you kind of doing something which is not working out for you and you are just dragging because maybe your friends are doing and there is a group of people who are doing, but at your heart you're not happy like what you're doing, right? It is always important that something clicks. It is okay, it clicks at after 30, after 40, till the time it is something you resonate with, right?
जब मन करे खुद से
जब
तब
जागो तब
भागना.
सवेरा, राइट? हाँ.
एग्जैक्टली हाँ. तो आपने कभी वो नहीं सोचा है कि जितने भी ऐसे प्रेस्टिजियस मैराथन्स हैं, बॉस्टन मैराथन या लंदन मैराथन, टोक्यो मैराथन, लाइक किसी में भागने का?
देखो वो कर सकते हैं. मैराथन इज समथिंग आई लाइक, बट इट इज नॉट दैट आई एम रनिंग मैराथन एवरी 2 months or 3 months. I
हम्म.
typically do 2 to 3 marathons in a year, and that has also started over the last 2 3 years. Marathon takes a toll on your body. Now, going outside and doing that marathon, you have to do a lot of planning. One, you have to register. You have to be looking at the cutoffs that you are able to make it
हम्म.
to the cutoff for the world majors, 6 majors that happen. You have to plan the travel. You have to go there, run, and then get back. I would rather do a lot of good runs that are happening in India.
हम्म.
Now, if coincidentally I'm traveling somewhere and there is a run happening, I never miss that.
ओके.
For example, I have a trip coming up next week. I'm getting to Australia. So I thought maybe let me check when I'm in a
हम्म.
city, if there is a run, why not register? So I registered for a
या.
run when I'm in Australia. Similarly, I
दैट्स.
have done that in other cities too.
हम्म.
So that is how I plan. And again, going back to the point, it is not a kind of a socializing event for me. It is something that I like to do solo. So I'm okay with that. Yeah. But if someday I am in a city where the world majors happen and it is just about planning that travel
हम्म.
closer to the date, I would rather do that rather than saying I have to just dedicatedly plan for a run at that time.
हम्म.
So not on my list. I think not something I'm chasing for, say, maybe next 5 years, 10 years. If it happens, it happens.
So you also never thought of going for an Ironman?
Ironman, no. I think swimming is a weak or a bad spot for me. So no, that is off the list. I've done, I think, duathlons. I've done cycling and running, but not with swimming.
Okay. मतलब I think जब काफी लोग ऐसे रनिंग या साइकिलिंग शुरू कर देते हैं तो उनका एक नेक्स्ट गोल यही आता है कि इसमें अच्छा कर लिया तो लेट्स गो फॉर एन आयरन मैन और समथिंग
राइट।
लाइक दैट। बट हाँ, इट्स इंटरेस्ट, मतलब कभी कभी, मतलब ओके, तो how do you tell that something that you are feeling right now, like the decision that you are about to take, is it your personal decision or is it something stimulated by society or friends around you? So like, do you have this conscience in mind कि आपको पता होता है कि आपको क्या करना है?
I think most of the time it is driven from my personal experience. But
Hmm.
at times, if there is a small group of people I kind of associate with, if they are planning something and I feel it works out in my plan and it is not causing a lot of disruption, both on the professional side, personal side, I try to align. But it is not that if a group of people I kind of associate with and they're going somewhere, I will disrupt everything at my end and go there. That is not how I do it. I think it's kind of a middle ground between the two. If it works out for me, then I plan for it. But most of the time, it is more driven from, like in running, you can do two things, right? Either you can run longer or you can run faster. So you have to choose the goal. Or you try multi sport, like adding cycling to it, adding swimming to it. Uh, so now, after 10 years of running, I've hit a point. I'm not getting faster from where I am. Yes, maybe I can cut off 10 minutes, 15 minutes from my full marathon. Do I want to do ultras? Do I want to try something longer? That is where I am right now. Still figuring out, still decision has not been made, but something I will do in the next 1 or 2 months and figure out where I want to get at.
So there is also a joke going around for the running community. So whenever you hit your early 30s or like late 20s, so you just hit the road and you start to run. So do you also feel this to be true? Like, so the people in like older than like 27 and younger than 40, their main thing is sport. Like main sport is running. So do you feel this?
So let me tell you, I think in a very brutal way, uh, epitome of midlife crisis is long distance running, right? So you're right. I think once you are over with some of the things you have been chasing throughout your early life, for example, your education, your job, you have earned enough, you're settled in family,
Mm,
you have your things kind of going around. What next? Most
mm,
of the time, that is where the midlife crisis hit, right? What am I doing with my life? What I'm going to do next? Is there anything I can kind of look at? I'm just doing something which is very procedural to kind of run my life and get the means right. So that is where I think a lot of times you will see folks getting into running, cycling, hiking, something which consumes their time and gives some simulation and challenge to
mm,
them. So that's the right observation, but at the same time, you can see the other side too, where community is drifting towards, okay, we want to have every Saturday night as a night
party
at
night.
pub, or we
Mm,
want to get to a point where we are just kind of getting together. There is nothing that you are achieving out of it. So at least I feel the endurance sport give you the mental strength, give you some bit of, if not entirely, some bit of physical benefit, and it is adding to your longevity to some degree. If nothing else, at least it is making you stronger mentally. So I feel maybe if you have to weigh both, and everyone will hit that crisis, whether it is midlife, early life, whatever it is,
mm.
you will try to find something that is more than what you have been doing in your day, right? So
The
for me,
purpose.
yeah, running has clicked really well. Uh, there is the other side too, where I think you will see a lot of people getting on the other side. Maybe they are reducing their whole lifespan. I don't know,
Mm,
like for lifespan for anyone, but at least you know probable outcomes. If someone is
mm,
smoking, is that the case that person will kind of live just by 60, 65? The answer is no. They can still go by 80, 85. But the probability of their life, that lifespan
reduces
reduces,
down.
right? So similar
Mm,
is the case. I think the life choices you make. And if you like something that you are enjoying and it is giving you a kind of a health benefit, mental benefit, why not?
mm. So my next question is, it's a very personal question. You can choose not to answer. Day you became the CTO. So
Mhm.
were you happy? Were you like, okay, this is something that I have done? Or was it like, okay, I became the CTO, like what next? So what was the exact feeling?
So I think obviously it's a validation that you're moving ahead. But I think, again, going back to, and I will go more on running because that is where you want to focus on some of your kind of discussions on. Running teaches you a very good thing, which is equanimity, right? Whether things are not going to in your favor or it is going in your favor, you are very even balanced, right? So even if you achieve a lot of good things, it gives you that validation that yes, you're moving in the right direction, you're doing the right thing. But is it like a yay moment for me? It was a good moment for me, but it was not that okay, I have achieved what I was looking for, right? I have arrived. Nothing like that. It was more about okay, yes, this is something I am moving in the right direction. There is a reason I'm choosing for this one, and directionally, it is the right thing I want to get at. But is it something that I will celebrate for next 5 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, multiple months? The answer is no, because that is where I think my roots are. And on the other side too, if things are not going
Mm,
as per my plan, things are not going in favor of where I wanted it to be, I will still be very balanced and see how I can kind of move ahead. So the whole point of action reaction,
mm,
cannot control the action, right? You can always
mm.
control the reaction. So that is where I think it was. It was more kind of a balanced approach, but yes, it gives you a validation. You're going in the right direction.
So do you think like running for a long time can makes you kind of stoic in life? Like you uh, humbles down your emotions, like either that is anger or like anything, happiness, anger, sadness. They come towards the baseline. If we take it as a like a sinusoidal wave, so anger on the like upper side, sadness on the lower side, happiness similarly. So it just brings you down towards the origin, like towards the baseline. So do you feel that?
That's correct. I think there is a concept of, and it is mostly prevalent in markets and economics, which is reversion to mean. Anything that
Mm,
goes up comes back to their mean. Anything that goes
mm,
down comes back to the mean.
that's me.
Similar is the case on markets, right? The more they spike up, they will come back. The more they go down, they will come up. So running keeps you at that mean most of
Mm,
the time. Yes, the variance of if you were kind of doing a variance of 50% earlier, 50% up and down, now you are operating in the variance of 10% up and down. So to your
mm,
point, yes, that is how I think running makes you more kind of even-headed, and you are
mm.
not reacting and jumping on things where I think other people you might see run reacting on.
I always admired your growth in Expedia.
Mhm.
Not only me, a lot of people from my team and the sister teams and all. So we used to like kind of look up to you that okay now. I think when I joined Expedia, you just became the director. Then when I got promoted, you became senior director. Then after some time, you became VP and then India head. If you look back to this growth, and if I see this from a, like a third person view, I see that as an exponential growth. How did you do it? And what, according to you, are the X factors that kind of made you like this and gave you this growth?
So I think going back to your earlier point, I never kind of planned it ahead that okay, if I have to join Expedia, this is the level I want to get at. It was more about okay, let me learn
Mm,
stuff and let me understand how things are happening. When I joined, the whole fraud space was something new for me. I never kind of worked on it. But over time, what has happened, there was a lot of support from leadership. And I think the moment you start showing that promptness that you want to learn more, you want to kind of own more, and more or less, I think you can deliver, that is where the whole trust kind of builds up. So with that trust, what you can do, you can experiment with certain things, and I'm not averse to experiments. Whereas a lot of people, if you ask, they want to kind of stay in their team, they want to stay in their kind of space. If you ask them, okay, you want to try something new, the obvious answer will be no. For me, it was yes. What's the harm? Let me try it out. So with a combination of learning, with a combination of building that trust, a lot of support from the leadership, and fourth bit that I was open to experiment newer areas, newer things. I think the growth was something one step at a time. It came on coming up from a manager to a director was more about can you own something on the a newer area that we are looking to
mm,
kind of fund in India. I thought, okay, I will be the happily kind of doing that. I
mm,
did that, build that trust, move on. Then there was something, can you hold two portfolios if not one? I thought, okay, let me
mm,
try it out in India. Anyways, I think getting to that level was not very
mm,
organic. So I thought it might be inorganic, but what's the harm, right?
mm,
So you have to always look at like what is your risk and reward,
Mm,
And the risk is, yes, you are trying something new, you might fail with it, but the reward is if you kind of do it right, you get the benefit as well, right? So these are few things which I kept on doing. And even I think when I chose the current role that I am in, it was the same criteria, that let me learn something new. There will be more, I think, end to end, maybe team wise, maybe the whole breadth wise, it might not even be same scale, but at the same time, I think I get exposure of everything as a
mm,
CTO, right? So that has been the recipe, nothing kind of unique, nothing new. And it was always opportunity too. I am kind of fortunate enough to have the right opportunities and then support from the leadership. That helped. And then I think if you stretch that extra mile and you are able to kind of deliver stuff, bring that alignment with your stakeholders, not just in India, outside India, global stakeholders,
mm,
and then you are able to kind of bank on that trust and say, okay, can we bring something new?
mm,
That is something that gives you the growth. The other bit is obviously the people. Uh, any manager is as good as the team. So if you have
mm.
a good team, I think they will create space where they can experiment something as well as you can take up more. So the set of leaders I have grown, the set of people I have invested in, and I think similarly they have the right kind of talent mix and the capabilities. That also helped me scale. And
Mm,
again, it was more about right people at the right time, hiring the right talent, retaining the right talent,
mm.
ensuring that we are investing into the right people. So a mix of it has been something which helped me. Again, there is no kind of set recipe, ABC you do, and then you kind of get there. It was more about just being open and say, okay, let me try out new stuff.
Are you a DFS person or are you a BFS person?
I am more of a BFS person.
Okay, so
If required, I can go into DFS, but
mm,
general tendencies I will be BFS.
so you're going to try different things. Whatever life throws at you, you're going to try that. Whatever
Yes,
new opening comes up, you're going to go through that.
right.
Okay, that's nice. So, as you mentioned about the like leadership and the manager is as good as the team. So, who according to you is a good leader or a great leader? Like what differentiates between a normal leader, like okay, he or she can like kind of a KTLO thing, okay, they'll keep the lights open. Then second is a good leader, and then the third category is a great leader. Like, so who according to you is like three of the kind?
I think I will answer it more holistically, and it is not just about me. The leaders I have kind of taken inspiration from, the leaders I have looked up to. I have seen a lot of leaders getting stuck in, I think, execution, delivery, day to day rut. And I think you can be busy, but are you moving ahead? That is something someone has to take a pause and then step back and see, are they moving ahead or not?
Mm,
For me, a leader is, I think, someone who is unlocking the potential for the team, for the individuals, is not kind of hungry for any accountability, is more about how people can achieve more, set the
mm,
right directional goals, do the right checkpoints, and help the team if they're not going in the right direction.
mm,
It's not about the leader taking charge and leader telling that you have to go to point A to point B. At times, you have to let that also driven by the team, let them
mm,
do their own mistakes, learn from it. But yes, mistakes within an envelope of whatever risk you can
mm,
digest, and it is not going to kind of be a irreversible decision. So that is where I think good leadership comes in. You have
mm,
to unlock the team's potential. You have to ensure that the team is aligned on what is required for the organization and what goals they are working through. Give them the right mentoring and leadership in terms of how they can develop themselves, whether it is
mm,
technology, whether it is leadership, whether it is soft skills, whether it is working in a global environment, those kind
mm,
of things. So that is how I look at a good leadership. It is not always about the credential, it is not always about the authority. At
mm.
time, most of the time, it is about the influence and influencing it the right way.
Okay. One more doubt in this. So, let's say some people kind of plays office politics, like gets the accountability of a different thing. So have you seen this, and what's your take on it? Like, does it take you forward, does it not take you forward? or do you kind of need anything? So I'll give you an example. So I was talking to my friend, and we were talking about, okay, now the promotion cycle is coming and all, and then she was telling me about like what's the new year resolution that you're going to take. And she mentioned that, okay, I won't separate myself from the politics. I won't actively take part in it, but I will stand up for myself. So that's the exact line she said. And I've also felt this. So what's your take on it?
So I think you're right. Politics will be there till the time humans are around. So
Mm,
it's very human nature to kind of talk about stuff, to maybe form certain groups and say, okay, we will do it this way. Let's see if we can get to that point. Politics is not bad. I think it is mostly about what you're trying to get out of it, right? Now, politics could also be that, okay, as a group, we want to influence certain things, we want to get to a decision point, we want to look at a strategy or something that is forward looking, and let's see how we can influence the leadership, right? That is also politics, which is a
mm,
good part of the politics. The bad politics would be that, okay, let me just take accountability of something, let me see how I can credit or discredit someone. So politics will always be there. I think one thing where someone has to take a very neutral view, if politics is not working in your favor, how do you take a stand and ensure that at least your leadership is on the same page and they are aligned?
mm,
To get there, obviously, you have to build a lot of trust. Now, building
mm,
trust is where it takes time. It cannot be just a reaction and a action, right? So it cannot be that, okay, Kushal is doing something against me. There is a bit of a plot that you are doing against me. I reach out to my manager that Kushal is doing that. What next?
mm.
Right? So you
Yeah.
need to have that trust that, okay, this happened, this is how it is being played, I need support on this one. You take the
Mm,
right kind of support, whether it is from your peers, whether it is from your leadership, direct leadership, indirect leadership, whether it is from other functions. You have to at least take a stand for yourself. I
mm,
would rather, my stand has been very neutral. I would never engage, never kind of do anything which is going to harm anyone, or at least
mm,
put anyone in a discomfortable state, uncomfortable
mm,
state. But at the same time, if you are put in a spot, you should take a stand
mm,
for yourself,
mm.
right?
So in this, the second part comes, the follow up question is ki I am a kind of a person who says things straightforward. Like if I'm feeling bad about something, so in my one on ones also, just say ki, okay, these are the things I want to change, and these are the flaws. Like okay, I accept the flaws and all. So I don't want any like corporate jargons to be thrown at me, that okay, these are the things. So that's a very personal question, that is this the right way to go forward? Like, is this the right way to move forward?
See, it depends. That is where it is important to understand who you are having the conversation with,
Mm,
how the person is going to react, right? Are they a DFS or a BFS?
mm,
Where you want to get started from? Do you want to start from a zoomed out view, or you want to start in a zoomed in view? So that is where being context aware is important. Handling the situation, it is not about you as a person, because
mm,
most of the time at workplace, it is a group of people who are working together. So it is less about you, it is more about the team. So how does that
mm,
interpersonal things play out? That is where EQ comes in, and you have to be aware what, how the other person will react, how it will matter to
mm,
them, what is important for them. Are they more kind of a data driven person, or they are more
mm,
EQ kind of a person? So start from that, give them the right picture, whether it is a zoomed out view, zoomed in view. Talk about what you're trying to drive at longer term thing, and then how it is helping or not helping in the current situation. Because it
okay.
cannot always be you. You can always
Mm,
see that, okay, I'm seeing just black and white, the other person still sees the
mm,
gray. How do you find that middle ground where that consensus is being built? That is where I think you have to see how you are influencing people, knowing the
mm.
other side, whether it is a team, whether it is one individual set of leaders, what is important for them,
So you have to like first understand the other person, that
what drives them, right?
yeah, how they react to different
Talking
situations,
to a
and
CFO versus talking to a chief marketing officer will be very different, right?
yes, mm, that's time you talked about the more risk taking, saying yes to other opportunities, and also has there been there a time when you have taken more than you can eat, and you kind of failed, but that was a good lesson. But I really want to know if something like this happened and where you kind of failed. So I wanted to know about the failures part also. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think while I was looking at the whole portfolio when I was handling, I think two bigger tech teams, tech
Mm,
areas, scaling was becoming a challenge for me because I think one, the team was not there. Uh, Hiring or the existing talent was not able to scale up. And the point is, if I have to get into each and everything, I will burn myself out. So this happened for good 1 or 2 quarters, but then I have to take a stand that I need to pull back on certain things. I kind of wrote a document talking about what
mm,
all I am responsible for, setting the right expectation. What are the things I will step back from? I cannot just stay in everything if I am scaling up. There are few things which
mm,
will get out. And then I think leadership understood that I have to do that, otherwise I will burn out. And then obviously with a global company, there is a lot of overhead of getting on calls, whether in early morning or late nights. So you have to draw a boundary, what works for you being an individual. At the same time, I think what are the things you will step back from.
mm,
So 6 months was not easy at that point of time, but then you have to take a call and say, well, how you will survive, and bring in your leaders, your leadership along, that okay, this is how I'm going to operate. If you see a concern, we might have to reset certain things, because end of the day, I will have good 10 to 12 hours in a day where I am attentive, where I'm aware, I'm doing the right decision making. Beyond that, I'm not just being there. I might be there on a call, but I'm drained out, right?
yeah. So, when you take ownership of the things that you have done, so how is it taken as from a other side of, like, from the company perspective? So let's say I was working on some project. So my thing would be very like smaller as compared to us. But if we try to think about this, so let's say I'm working on a project and I'm not able to complete it, but I take full ownership. Okay, these were the things that went wrong. It probably was not my fault. So how is it taken from the company side of it? Like, how will the engineering leader will take this? Okay, will they take it as project was not completed or was completed? Is it a black and white thing, or is it a more a gray kind of thing? Okay, what were the reasons and all?
So again, I think it depends on what is the outcome you're trying to drive. If the outcome is that, okay, something failed, we understand what failed, we want to move on,
Mm,
ABC is what we want to kind of get to as action items. And in the next few projects, you will see that we are implementing something new. That's a good intent.
mm,
The other is, yes, two people were assigned the project. Why it failed? Because person A did not do that or person B did not do that. It get to a point of finger pointing, might not be very constructive. Or
mm,
maybe we are a tech team and we are pointing fingers to product, or we are pointing fingers to program, or maybe someone in the sales team
mm,
that they did not do their job right. Again, not very constructive. So I think the whole point is how you are treating this whole learning. That is one. Second, what are you going to change as you kind of look at future deliveries? And third, how are you aligning this to the company goals or the team goals?
mm,
If you are kind of having that alignment in three areas, I don't see a reason anyone will react negatively. I think the
mm,
only negative reaction you will get to if you are doing this the third time or the fourth time and you have
mm,
already shared that story maybe 6 months back on a different project, yes, there will be a
mm,
reaction. If you are finger pointing, yes, there will be a reaction, maybe not from leadership, but from the other side. And
mm,
if it is more about, I did not do the job or someone else did not do the right job, again, there will be a reaction. So do it with the right intent.
mm.
I think it's not that leaders are looking for a reason to put a blame on anyone. They are looking for the intent. So the intent has
Yeah.
to be very clear. And it cannot be just something that, okay, we feel something else and we are demonstrating something else. That
Mm,
is easily caught. That is
mm.
where the human aspect is, right?
मतलब वो भी तो स्टेज से निकल के गए ही हैं, उनको पता ही
Exactly.
है कि
Exactly.
क्या है।
Exactly.
सो अनदर थिंग, सो आई हैव सीन, अगर कभी कभी कुछ लोग गलत कर देते हैं, बट देयर इज अ वे ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटिंग थिंग्स, लाइक सो दे आर रिप्रेजेंटिंग इट लाइक नहीं नहीं कुछ गलत नहीं हुआ है, बट सामने वाले को पता तो होता है, राइट,
Mm-hmm.
कि हाँ मतलब गलत हुआ है, और उन्हें पता भी होता है किसी गलती है, बट बस उस समय बताते नहीं है। सो इज दिस ट्रू? सो वट एवर हैपन्स, लाइक अगर मैं किसी और तरीके से रिप्रेजेंट करूंगा किसी चीज को, बट उन्हें कोर रियलिटी पता होती है.
See, there is a saying, right? You can fool some people all the time. You can fool all the people sometime, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. Right.
Hmm.
So sooner or later it will get caught. Yes, maybe one meeting, two meetings, it could be a deception that
Hmm.
you can get into. But if you're doing it with the right intent,
Hmm.
you're building the trust not just with your leadership, with your peers. I think it shows up whether you are moving in the right direction or you are choosing to kind of discredit someone and put the blame somewhere else, wherever it was something that you have done. Think of trust like with your peers, think of trust with your direct manager or the leadership. If you're doing it again and again, it gets caught. Maybe one time, two time, you can still do it, but you have broken the trust from the other person or your peers that you have been working with, right?
Okay, so are you a firm believer of कर्म कर फल की चिंता मत कर, or do you like partially believe in this?
I believe in that. I believe
Hmm.
in that karam kar fal ki chinta na kar, but at the same time, if someone kind of hurts you, you have to take your stand too.
Hmm.
Right? वो भी कर्म का ही पार्ट है. वो फल
Good.
का पार्ट नहीं हो, कर्म का ही पार्ट है.
Hmm. तो ओके, उसी के ऊपर एक और चीज कि लेट्स से you are talking to your younger self, maybe straight out of college. You're talking to your younger self, and what are the things that you're going to tell him कि ये करना है और ये नहीं करना है?
Mhm.
मतलब what are the big no's and big yes?
I think the first big no I would kind of put at is people will try to push your buttons. Don't
Hmm.
just react. I have reacted. I had a very kind of hot-headed personality 15 years back, 12 years back, and I have reacted in big meetings too, and people were trying to obviously push those buttons. So that is one. Again, it comes with time, it comes with learning. It is easier said than done. Everyone has their own kind of life cycle to it. The second one would be continuous learning. I still do that, but at the same time, I think the more you learn, the better it is, because technology is not constant. It's not that you have learned one skill and you can just use that skill over time. Right? Take, for example, maybe an advocate. Take, for example, yes, they will always run into new cases, but the primary thing kind of remains the same. You have to learn about the case, you have to learn about, I think, what's happening. But the pace of change we have in technology, it's exponential. What's happening with AI, what's happening, the way we are coding, the way we are kind of looking at our work, it has been changing. So that's another bit. And third would be maybe start running sooner so that you can get to that stage I discussed on the first 2 points.
Yeah.
So these are three things. Yes.
So, in personal question, like, what exactly changed? How did you uh, become this from a hot-headed person?
I think it was bit of introspection, bit of mentoring that I got from my mentors and my kind of leaders I have worked with. And at the same time, I think I myself organically also cooled down a bit with running. So all three things I have started kind of got into a point where I don't react immediately, even if someone is saying something very negative or they are not telling the right facts. I don't react immediately. So that's an area I think I have learned. Never react immediately, whether it is an email that you got, whether it is a
Mm,
Slack message, whether it is something
mm,
during the discussion. Just kind of absorb it and then take some time to react to it and do it with the facts. So those are the things I think a lot has been. I would credit it to my leaders at that point of time and the mentoring I received, and at the same time
mm.
being self-aware. It is not a
So, who are the
situation when someone is reacting in a meeting and it is more about I said that, you said that, and things like it. When you reflect back on it, you don't want to do that, right?
मेच्योर होते हैं आप समय के साथ
Exactly,
कि
exactly. And that's what I'm saying, right? It is not that you can expect a 20-year-old or a
mm,
person in 30s will kind of get there. It takes time. Someone achieves that kind of wisdom sooner, someone will take their own time, someone will never achieve that. I will, and they might say it's not something that they are missing because for
mm,
them it's a reality, right? It is the way of
yeah.
working that, okay, I will react. Anything happens.
Mm. हाँ, this makes sense. मतलब अच्छा, एक सवाल है कि क्या आपको अभी भी इम्पोस्टर सिंड्रोम होता है कि मे बी आई एम नॉट गुड इनफ फॉर वट एवर आई एम डूइंग, और आर यू लाइक वेरी वेल सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंट?
आई थिंक एक बार अगर आप वो छोड़ दो ना कि व्हाट अदर्स आर थिंकिंग अबाउट यू, देन यू हैव अटेन्ड अ लेवल.
Mm,
So to some degree, I would not say I don't care about others, what they think, but I am not worried about, I think, what perception they are making about myself, unless
mm,
until I think something which I am missing and I come to know that, okay, I have not done this correctly. So that takes away a lot of load from you, whether it is
mm,
society, whether it is workplace, whether it is your family. It takes a
mm,
lot of toll out of you if you
mm,
stop worrying about what others are thinking about me.
mm.
I think आधी
Yes.
दुनिया भी उसी पे चल रही है, right? It's
आधी
not
से
about
ज्यादा ही
the
चल रही है मेरे ख्याल से.
हाँ, it's
मतलब
not
आई थिंक.
holiday you get into, it is about कि वो holiday की आपके Instagram के pics क्या हैं, Facebook पे pics क्या हैं, right? तो that is where I think you have to get out, enjoy the moment you are in, and forget about. I think yes, you will never forget about it, but don't worry too much. Right?
So like, are you fully into this zone, or are you trying to get fully into the zone? Like, are you in a transition phase?
I feel I'm fully into this. I think if you talk about me, the only apps that I have on social media, I think might be LinkedIn. Facebook is not
Insta.
there. Facebook is not there on my phone. I still have the account for the reasons login with Facebook.
Mm,
Instagram, I was never there. Strava is one because Strava, I think for two reasons. One, it lets you connect to other fellow runners, but it is not about, okay, the best run I have done or the best timing I have achieved. So I'm already there, and I think it takes a lot of toll, even for me, when I look at maybe WhatsApp, the messages and groups I am in. I don't enjoy kind of putting those messages in there and saying, responding to a lot of stuff like Happy
mm,
Diwali, Happy New Year. I don't
mm.
enjoy that. And the
I've
same
seen your
same images
disappearing
kind of
messages.
forwarded here and there, the same messages being forwarded here and there. If you kind of want to do, pick up the phone, call someone, meet someone. That is more real experience than saying, okay, I just want to put it on WhatsApp.
So you're more of a call kind of person rather than a text person.
I rather enjoy a conversation than putting
Mm.
on WhatsApp or some messaging app. Yeah.
So who are the like leaders, famous or like personal, whom you look up to?
I think if you talk about technology, there are leaders like I think Jeff Bezos, not because I think what he has achieved with Amazon, the kind of culture he created in Amazon in terms of the whole flywheel, the kind of leadership values,
Mm,
that kind of stick with me.
mm,
So that's I think one leader I kind of admire. And it was not always I think Jeff Bezos. It was a lot of
mm,
leaders he has with him where the actual show was running. Jeff was mostly I think setting it up and then
mm,
letting the team run the show. Then I think beyond that, you spoke about Naval.
mm.
He is the one. Nassim Taleb, you must have heard about him.
Yeah,
The whole concept of anti-fragile. That is
anti-fragile.
a transition I'm getting into being anti-fragile.
Oh, the
So,
whole trilogy of these three books I'm trying to grasp as much as I can.
okay,
So these books, मतलब आधी चीजें तो सच बताऊं तो मेरे सर के ऊपर से जाती हैं, क्योंकि आई
right,
थिंक आई एम नॉट mature enough to understand the things that he's trying to say.
right.
Probably one day more wiser, every day more wiser.
Yes, yes.
तो ये चीज है. हाँ जी. और कौन कौन है?
I think I'm not sure you have heard about. There used to be this guy, although he was famous or infamous for other reasons, but I liked his discourses on philosophy. Osho.
Yeah, I love
I
this guy.
really liked his discourses on philosophy, the kind of explanation he has, the kind of
Hmm.
looking at things. He was one. Yeah, these are the people I kind of like.
Like, so there are two philosophers that I was going through. One was Osho and one was Jiddu Krishnamurti,
Okay.
and both had
They
drastically
are like
opposite
different
philosophy.
extremes, right? One
Exactly.
is try out everything and then learn
Yeah.
from it, and the other is more conservative. Yes.
So recently I bought this book, Osho and Kabir's philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
So something with the fish kind of thing. If you have read this book, so yeah, like Osho. Some things I don't agree with him. Some things I do. कभी कभी ऐसा लगता है कि मेरे मन की बात ही कोई सामने वाला बोल रहा है, और कभी कभी लगता है कि ये क्या बोल रहे हैं.
Right.
तो आपने उनका वो शिव सूत्र पूरा पूरा सुना है उनका आपने, वैसे ओशो का?
No, I think I've heard him on Kabir. I've heard him
Hmm.
on Lao. I've
Hmm.
heard him on some of the other philosophers on Gita,
Hmm.
but not that one. No.
काफी कहते हैं कि बहुत अच्छा है और बहुत ऐसा ज्ञानवर्धक टाइप चीज है, तो आई थिंक यू कैन लिसन टू
Him on
व्हाइल
my
यू आर
list, then
रनिंग.
yes.
या, तो शिव सूत्र, इट्स ऑन यूट्यूब ओनली.
Okay.
You can listen to that.
Yeah.
Okay, on the like, we're going towards the in closing side part. So, if I ask you like, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever heard in your life? So, which kind of like stuck in your head? कि ये तो बस गई है.
I think multiple, but I will tell you something which has always stuck in my head is more about, I think, in life we keep on getting prepared for things we want to attain, things we want to kind of status we want to get to.
Mm,
It's more about you getting prepared to live a life, whereas life is happening now, right? So a lot of times that's the reason I think the whole midlife crisis, we take 20, 30 years to say now we have attained a status, right? Still everyone still has something they are chasing for, whether it
mm,
is wealth, whether it is fitness, whether it is something else on the family front or outside,
mm,
but you're still chasing. The moment you stop chasing and say what is happening now is the life to you, it gives you a different perspective. And that's the
mm,
whole point of being anti-fragile and the whole point of being in the present and not figuring about what the society is thinking about you, what are the people thinking about you,
mm,
you. So that has given me some kind of perspective that stop worrying a lot. At the same time, I think future is important, but present is far more important. Right.
mm,
So that is something which has stuck by a lot of things I do. At the same time, what I have done in the first 30 years of my life was very different.
mm,
It's 10 things. And then the whole idea is if I chase all the 10 things, I will be happy. And then you
mm.
realize, no, there are 10 more. There are 10 more, right? So that changes the perspective of life.
So, are you a fan of movies? Do you like movies?
I am selective.
Mm,
Given the time constraint I have,
mm,
I will watch a movie if it has been something that everyone recommends. I am
mm,
not the one who will be in a movie hall on the day one. I never do
mm,
that. I think time is more important to me. But I like good movies. I like good movies. Not the movies like everyone is watching and then they say, okay,
mm,
this is the best thing in the
mm.
theaters right now. Yeah.
So, there was a movie, Spider-Man. So, the animated one. So, in that movie, there was this concept of canon event. So, what a canon event is, something major that happened in your life, which kind of shaped or changed the way of thinking. So, if I ask you, have you ever thought about your canon event? Like, ऐसा लाइफ में क्या हुआ था कि जिसके कारण काफ़ी कुछ फ्लिप हो गया ज़िंदगी के अंदर, जो चल रहा था और जो अभी है। मतलब कि
हम्म।
अगर वो इवेंट ना हुआ होता तो पूरा का पूरा डायरेक्शन ही चेंज होता।
आई थिंक एक नहीं होगा, मल्टीपल कैनन
हुँ,
इवेंट्स होते हैं तो काफी कैनन इवेंट्स थे.
हुँ,
Few maybe on personal side, few on the
हुँ,
professional side. But the point is, I think when I stopped worrying about what has happened in the past,
हुँ,
a lot of strings were cut out of me. And
हुँ,
when I started focusing on what I can do and how I can look forward, that changed. And that
हुँ,
has happened over the last, I would say, 10 to 15 years. That has changed a
हुँ,
lot of perspective. The moment you are stuck with your kind of past or you're thinking too much of his future, you are stuck. You are never in the moment. You're not giving your 100%. So yes, it
हुँ,
has happened. I think personal end पे हुआ and उसके बाद professionally तो if you are maybe 10, 15, 20 years in your professional life, things happen. You will meet a lot of people, negative, positive, how
हुँ,
it kind of impacts on you. That was something that happened with me in a couple of workplaces. Uh,
हुँ,
I liked, disliked, but the point is now if I look back, I let go because that is the
हुँ,
best thing I can do right now. I cannot just hold people accountable for something they did. I let go and then I am more freed up of things rather than saying that, okay,
हुँ,
this is something which has not helped. Uh, Beyond that, I think the whole point of this physical running and something that I do The more I train, I think mentally I'm getting fitter and I can
Mm,
kind of handle unexpected situations in a better way. What I could
mm,
have handled maybe 10 years back. So
mm,
that has given me the mental strength to say, okay, whatever it may be, we can handle it. And at the same time, I think the whole experience of going out for a run, going into
mm,
unexpected events while you're running, doing a run which is longer than maybe 25K, 30K gives you that strength. So
mm,
combination of it, multiple Canon events, I kind of myself getting ready to handle things, and
mm.
then freeing yourself from the past and then not thinking too much about the future. I would not say no one thinks about the future, but not thinking too much and being present.
So, how do you manage your stress at this level? How do you manage it?
I think music is one, with family, spending time with family is another one. Something I was not doing in my initial part of the career is not expressing myself. So I do
Mm.
express myself. Then having few people you can kind of talk freely with, vent out. You need that group or maybe people who can guide you. They are the mentors for you. And lastly, I think running for sure.
आई थिंक लेट समझ आ जाती है बट वैसे मेल ऐसा सोसाइटी के अंदर है कि मेल जनरली डू नॉट एक्सप्रेस देमसेल्व्स
हाँ.
whatever they are feeling whatever they are feeling for the family itself like अगर मैं बोलूँ कि अपने मॉम डैड को भी कुछ बताना हो तो उसके अंदर भी थोड़ा सा इमोशनल वे के अंदर थोड़ा हिचकिचाहट होती ही है
Right.
बट इट्स नाइस so are you in touch with your college friends or
I
school life
am
friends?
a smaller group of college friends I am in touch with, yes. Even with school friends. Maybe even smaller group of our school friends.
Mm, that's nice. Also, on the like closing point, like what do you have any music recommendations or book recommendations for me?
I think music, I am a big fan of Nusrat. So I like everything that he
Same.
has sung.
Hmm.
Uh, my wish
आपने
was
क्या?
I started listening him very late. My wish was I could have attended one of his live concerts. I did not.
Hmm.
After that, I like Jagjit Singh. He is good.
Hmm.
Uh, I think, but off late, I've been hearing a lot of Coke Studio, Pakistan.
Oh, lovely.
I love that kind of whole series and multiple seasons they have done.
Hmm.
And the kind of music which is a mix of folk, traditional,
Hmm.
Urdu, Punjabi, everything. So that is what kind of clicks with me. Not
Any
some
favorite singer from Coke Studio Pakistan?
Coke Studio. I think it keeps on changing, but I like those guys. I'm missing their name. Who has sung? What was that? Par Chanade. And
शिल्पा राव भी थी
yes,
और
yes, yes,
yes,
yes,
yes,
yes.
yes.
Those two
Hmm.
brothers. And I
Hmm.
think Rohil Hayat in
Hmm.
common, he has been kind of doing the whole music direction for the initial
Like
few.
Kavish.
Kavish is good, yes, yes.
Kavish is
Kavish is
Ali
good.
Sethi, Kavish.
They have so many good singers, right? So
Agreed. मतलब सारा
I think a lot of it's not that India does not have a talent, but the kind of talent you see in Pakistan
म्यूजिक
is very
हेरिटेज वहीं रह गया.
Mehdi Hassan, and then
हम्म,
Abida Parveen, Nusrat.
अ, नसीबो.
Yes, yes, yes.
मतलब असल में ऐसा है कि वैसे पता है आपको जो आप सारे नाम बता रहे हो जैसे नुसरत फतेह अली खान साहब और राहत फतेह अली खान मतलब बाकी जितने भी जगजीत सिंह ये सब मेरे पापा ना ऐसे बचपन से मैं सुनता आ रहा हूँ मेरे पापा
Mhm.
कैसेट्स में लाते थे और घर पे रिकॉर्ड प्लेयर होता था और मैं बचपन से नुसरत साहब सुनता आ रहा हूँ तो मेरे
Wow.
को ऐसा लगता है कि अच्छा है चलो मेरे को मैं बचपन से सुना है ये सब और मेरे को बहुत बढ़िया लगता है ये चीज तो है और एनी बुक्स रिकमेंडेशंस.
I am not a very avid kind of reader. I typically go for an audiobook or a podcast. So nothing specific. I think books. Book recently I read maybe some time back was Influence. There was a good book on influence that I read. Beyond that, I think podcast. I typically go through a lot of fitness.
एनी पॉडकास्ट रिकमेंडेशंस.
Again, I think I don't have anything. Let me just check what I'm kind of hearing through. It's not that I'm subscribed something and I just go through that. So I like few folks like Haberman I like, and then
और अमरमैन लैब राइट.
Haberman Lab, right? And
या
there is a podcast on mostly the macroeconomics and what's happening in the markets
Hmm.
from Wealthy on. Then there is Tech Talks, obviously.
Hmm.
There is a podcast called as 80,000 Hours. They talk about
Okay.
a lot of stuff. So if you're not kind of looking for a shuffle podcast, that is the
Hmm.
one I get to, rather than saying that I want to just listen about fitness, I want to just listen about
Hmm.
financial markets.
Hmm.
So that's another one. And beyond that, I think some of the running coaches I follow their podcast.
Hmm. मतलब मैंने ना बस एक और चीज की आपका एक पोस्ट देखा था मैंने दैट यू मेंशनड इन्वेस्टिंग इन म्यूचुअल फंड्स डू यू स्टिल
हम्म।
इन्वेस्ट इन म्यूचुअल फंड्स आपने
I
कोरा पे
do.
डाला हुआ था बहुत पहले
हाँ, किसमें?
कोरा पे डाला हुआ था आपने आंसर एक डाला था
Oh, is it okay? हाँ, I do. I do. But see, what has happened again, I've become very settled in that area. I used to have maybe that thought process. I will choose the next
हम्म,
best mutual fund. I will choose a lot of stocks that will go
हम्म,
through. Over the last 5, 10 years, I have simplified everything. It is like maybe just two, three, not even stocks, ETFs, and then two, three
हम्म,
mutual funds. That's it. Because I don't want to chase like that 0.5% additional out of Nifty. If Nifty can kind of give me that return over longer term, what's the kind of overhead for that, right? You take
या
a lot of risk.
और चीजें हैं जिंदगी के अंदर
Exactly,
सोचने के लिए
exactly, right?
हर रोज बैठ के मार्केट ओपनिंग का
0.5%
भी
के लिए you chase a lot, and then end of it, I think when things go the other way around, you also lose a lot, right?
ग्रेट अच्छा वैसे एक और चीज मैं बार बार सॉरी अगर आप
नहीं नहीं नहीं, बताओ बताओ.
हाँ तो आपने कभी बाहर जाने का नहीं सोचा लाइक मूविंग आउट ऑफ इंडिया यू
Yeah,
मस्ट हैव गॉटन अपॉर्चुनिटीज
yeah,
एट
I got
मल्टीपल स्टेजेस
multiple. I think I
या
got few opportunities while working, say, with Amazon, Expedia. Even I think when I was in the earlier companies, there were opportunities. Then there were few opportunities for Australia too. But the whole point was, what's in it for me? Yes, I understand. I think maybe staying in Delhi, it will be far more clean air
या
environment. That is for sure a needle mover for me. But beyond that, I think financially, I never felt that India is any lesser, or maybe the quality of life is better. I think maybe yes, the kind of food you get, the kind of air you get, the water you get, that will be pure and clean. But I have also seen people struggle when it comes to how you want to support your house, how you want to kind of do some of the chores, how you want to kind of look at the support system around you, and then they start missing India. I was like, okay, it's a big reset for me. Do I have to do it now? Or maybe just see how things pan out in India. And uh, coincidentally, a lot of it worked in my favor, and I have been able to kind of get a good lifestyle in India, staying in India, earning in India. So it never clicked for me. I'm missing out something. Yes, you always miss out that people are going this place or that place, but you can always travel, right? It's not that you
या
can travel. So I never had that FOMO. In fact, I got the opportunity, but when the more I kind of reassessed, the more I thought through, it was like, okay, it's not that I'm missing a lot on few things. There are few things, but it's always a trade-off, right?
so any favorite places you have like love to travel to
I think favorites keep on changing, but last year we went to Ladakh. There was this
What?
Ladakh marathon, and they make you kind of come
Oh,
in a week early. So once you get in a week
acclimatize
early,
and all.
you can kind of look around, and that's the whole point, to also get
Mm.
acclimatized and promote the tourism. I
Mm.
really like that place. Yes, it takes time to get settled there, and then whole
Mm.
breathing and oxygen levels that are there in
Mm.
Ladakh. But I really like the landscape. I really like the place and people around. So that has been
कश्मीर
the. Kashmir is also good. Yes, Kashmir is also good.
मतलब वहाँ
Kash-
की वो वादी सी बड़ी वादियाँ है जैसे तो
So Kashmir is valley, right?
हाँ
Typically, if you go to valleys, valleys are like that. In fact, even beyond Manali, if you go, you will see a lot of valleys like that,
हम्म
right? So Kashmir is good. I think the whole area around Pahalgam and that
हम्म
Aru Valley, Batab.
सोनमर्ग गुलमर्ग
Good.
हाँ मतलब मैं गया था स्कीइंग कोर्स करने गुलमर्ग में
Okay,
तो
December.
हाँ दिसंबर एंड जनवरी बिगिनिंग
On the
15 डे
December,
कोर्स
one of the December, it never snowed there. It was
मैं
last to
गया था
last year, I believe.
2022 या जो तो करा था
Ah.
तो आई वाज सो हैप्पी कि बस आ गया तो हम वहाँ गए तो स्टार्टिंग में तो थोड़ा-सा स्लोपर स्नो था, जो आईएसएम का स्लोप था, तो मैं
हाँ।
आईएसएम पे करने गया था। तो हमने करा कुछ दिन, फिर एक दिन कहते हैं जो हमारे हेड थे, हेड कोच काइंड ऑफ थिंग, तो सैंडी सर आते कहते हैं कि आज होगा स्नो रात को। बोला ये! तो फिर अगले दिन बहुत स्नो हुआ और हम स्नो के बीच में स्की करते हुए नीचे आ रहे हैं, तो दैट वाज़ अमेजिंग एक्सपीरियंस।
Which is your favorite place? Recent any destination?
सो आई वेंट ऑन अ बाइक ट्रिप, मतलब ऐसा 8 डे बाइक ट्रिप था। तो वी वेंट टू दुगतू। सो दुगतू इज इन उत्तराखंड। इट्स ऑन इंडियन तिब्बतियन बॉर्डर। सो
Mm-hmm.
एकदम बिल्कुल एंड पर। तो देयर इज 5 वीक्स पंचाचूली, अगर आपको
Okay,
पंचाचूली का, तो पंचाचूली बेस पर हमने फिर ट्रैक भी किया था। तो
nice.
वी वेंट ऑन अ बाइक, इट वाज लाइक 1700 किलोमीटर सर्किट फ्रॉम गुड़गांव टू गुड़गांव, लाइक गुड़गांव, देन वी वेंट टू मुंशियारी, वी डिड अ ट्रैक देयर, then we went to Duktu, we did a trek there, then we stayed for 2 days, then we came back to what's it, पिथौरागढ़, फिर पिथौरागढ़ से वापसी गुड़गांव। तो
Okay.
वो बहुत सुंदर जगह थी, वो बहुत मस्त
Was
था।
all on bike?
या
Okay,
तो
that is
वी वर 4 पीपल, 4 बाइक्स। और एक समय तो आया था जब ऐसा 90 किलोमीटर का स्ट्रेच था, कुछ रोड ही नहीं थी।
oh,
तो बिल्कुल ऑफ रोड काइंड ऑफ चीज थी और हम मस्त जा रहे हैं। हमारे आगे कोई नहीं है, हमारे पीछे कोई नहीं है। अगर हम हमारी बाइक खराब होगी तो आर्मी वाले ही बचा सकते थे। और तो कुछ था नहीं। तो दैट वाज़ अ गुड ट्रिप दैट आई
okay.
हैड। हुँ, जी। आई थिंक वी कैन एंड दिस। Uh, thanks Abhishek for this insightful thing, and thanks for doing this pod again. Uh, it was lovely talking to you.
Thanks for having me. And I know I think we have been discussing about having this chat, so I'm happy we are able to make it happen. And
Yes,
at the same time, hoping there is something that you can take away, folks can take away from it. And looking forward to more discussions. Thanks, Kushal.
yes.
Thank you.
तो